All right, we are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 16th meeting of the Auburn School Committee. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's begin with introductions. Down here to my right, please.
Dan Poisson, Ward 5.
Brian Belknap, Ward 4.
Larissa Perez Armendariz, Ward 1.
Pam Hart, Ward 2.
Karen Matthew, Ward 3.
Connie Brown, Superintendent of Schools.
Pat Gaudier, at large.
Pamela Albert, at large.
Jason Levesque, Mayor.
Abigail Fauché, Student Representative.
Gabriel Desperado, Student Representative.
Mark Conrad, Business Manager.
Sue Doris, Assistant Superintendent.
All right, welcome everyone. So let's begin this evening with the approval of the agenda, which includes tonight's agenda, as well as the approval of the minutes from February 2nd. Administrative staff continuing contract renewals for Scott Anier, Andrew Bard, Eric Gray, Melissa McLeod, as well as administrative staff second probationary contract renewal for Stephanie Maris. Can I entertain a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Belknap. Thank you, Pat. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion passes. Congratulations, all. Congratulations, staff. Year two, moving on. All right, public participation. Let's open public participation this evening. For anyone who would like to address the school committee, could you please join us right here at the podium. Yep, it's open. Yep, come on up, sure.
Thank you.
The mic should be on. Could you just kind of tap it for us? Yep,
It's
absolutely, right.
I just don't want to stand too close to it.
Sure, welcome.
Mo Galano, I live in Auburn. Lots have happened in the last 2 weeks. I remember at the last meeting, there was an individual here who spoke very highly of the bus department, and a week later, he's gone. So I want to talk a little bit about inspections on buses. They're done every 6 months, and the reason for that is for safety of the kids. There was an article in the paper about, well, the buses were new, so if they weren't inspected, it's not that big a deal. It is a big deal. They need to be inspected. Things break. I don't care if they're new or not. If anybody here has ever had a new vehicle and something broke on it, then the same thing happens with buses. Those buses need to be inspected every 6 months. It's critical. There really needs to be a change in the bus department, and I'm going to suggest that you just clean house. It's been that way for many years. I worked there for 3 years, and it really needs to start at the top. You need to put somebody in there that really knows what they're doing and cares about the people and respects them, is not afraid to get behind the bus and drive a run if need be. And he needs to pick his own staff. He needs to be involved in picking the people that he's going to work with, because the relationship between drivers and the staff, when I was there, and it's the same staff now, was not the best. And I won't get into a whole bunch of details, but I have some.
So far, Mr. Glenn, I've heard bus inspections done every 6 months, change in bus department, use the words clean house, new director of transportation, needs to be able to pick his own staff. Just wanted to make sure, yep.
The other issue I have is, we had to inspect all these buses again. So who's paying for that? Am I paying for that as a taxpayer? Are we talking 25, 30 buses? And for those of you who don't know, a bus inspection is not $12. It's like $75. That's a lot of money. So who's paying for that? I don't want to pay. I shouldn't have to pay. I already paid once because it was supposed to be inspected. So somebody should be held accountable for that. It's only fair. All right. That's all I have for tonight.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Anyone else like to come address the school committee? All right, seeing none, closing public participation. Presentation this evening, I don't believe we have any. So jumping over to school committee student report. Abigail's on deck tonight.
All right, so the original date of this presentation was at last meeting on the 2nd. I unfortunately was not here, so it is being presented tonight, and it was adjusted as follows. Oh, that was from last time. So moving on, at Walton, students at Walton have made much progress in their reading and writing techniques, and shown on the right, you will see the work created by Walton's young writers. The picture shows their writing skills and knowledge of character traits. Walton was also recognized by the Maine Principals Association, and they were recognized as a positive story of the day. Walton has been appreciated for their commitment and creativity towards community involvement during these times in the pandemic. And Walton also had their annual Sweetheart Bingo. This was held via Zoom last week on Friday, February 11th.
How long has that been going on? How long has that been going on, Mr. Davis?
Well, it's usually in person and it started before I got there, so we switched to Zoom and
It's been going, but the Sweetheart Bingo has been going on
cleanup is easy.
a long time. Yeah, true. I'm just saying it's a long-standing tradition you have there for that, isn't it? Okay.
Moving on to Washburn. Washburn students are working hard on their units as the year progresses. First grade students are currently working on their poetry unit, and from what I've heard, they are making great progress and are loving becoming young writers. Washburn virtual assemblies have been a huge success among staff, students, and parents, and the turnout has been a hit with a lot of participation. And upcoming for Washburn is this week's Spirit Week. Today for the students was Wacky Wednesday, and tomorrow will be Twin Day. So at Franklin, art teachers have been able to incorporate digital art into their school curriculum. Students have been putting their new skills to good use, and they have been using this program to create artwork for the Greater Androscoggin Humane Society's Pet Portrait fundraiser. Franklin offered their students activities that primarily focused on health and wellness, art, and community building. And the photos shown below showcase the artwork that Franklin students created during one of their early release days. So Edward Little had a lot to share on, so I just decided to put pictures, and I'll just talk about them. So on the topmost left, it showcases the annual craft fair that the music department holds, and it is an opportunity for small businesses to sell their products to the community, and it's also a way for students to get community involvement and service hours for graduation. To the right of the craft fair, you can see the progress made towards the construction of the new high school. I took this picture I think a couple weeks ago. It is all seemingly going according to plan, and personally, it's pleasing to see the progress made every day by these workers, and thank you to all that are putting their time and effort into the new building. On the top right is a picture of Edward Little's artwork hung at She Doesn't Like Gun Threes in Lewiston. The Honors Art Program had their work placed there on January 12th and is showcased for about a month or so, unless no new artist comes and takes down their art to put up their own, so it could possibly still be there. You'll have to go check it out. Mm-hmm. At the bottom left features the EL boys hockey team. Winter sports have been going well for the Eddies, with the boys hockey team currently seated first in Class A. They have a game tonight versus Wyndham at home. The girls hockey team is...
And they won 6-1.
Oh, they did?
Right?
Oh.
I think it was 5.
5-1? Okay, 5-1.
Nice. The girls' hockey team is currently seated second in Class A. They began their Northern Regional Finals tonight at 5 p.m. versus Lewiston. Go Red Hornets. The boys' basketball team is having playoffs tonight at 7 p.m. versus Wyndham as well, and they're currently seated in first place in Class AA. It is a big night for our Eddies athletes. And I believe that the ski team is also at KVAX today, right?
Class A states tomorrow and Friday at Rumford. And they came in third in KVAX too last week.
Nice. So in the bottom middle is a picture of the newly admitted District 2 Festival members. The District 2 Music Festival is one that students audition for. They get scores back, and if admitted, they go to sing with fellow members from all around Maine. EL wanted to recognize the District 2 vocal admissions, including Addison Avery, Simon Hall, Uriah Carver, Nathan Post, Samantha Williams, Annabeth Treadwell, Ainsley Watson, Liberty Latham, Victoria Allen, Anya White, Maddie Dubois, Afia Kavi, Alyssa Gallant, Nora Condit, and Tessa Hayashida. And District 2 instrumental admissions include Benjamin Condit, Samantha Williams, Ian Lathrop, and Samantha Hart. And they wanted to give a special shout out to Addison Avery for being accepted to Jazz All-State for her 4th year in a row.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And finally at EL was the Midnight Marathon depicted on the bottom right. And it occurred on February 1st for the Red Eddies. It started at 2:30 p.m. and lasted all the way till midnight. It was a late night for me and Gabe. With the rally, many prizes were given out to students in the audience and to those who competed in tic-tac-toe and hot shot. The basketball freshman teams, the JV teams, and varsity games. There was Midnight Marathon games held at halftime, with the varsity Eddies winning against Portland. Next came the roller drum, in which Eddies helped one another skate and enjoyed pizza donated from Domino's. Then starting at 10 p.m. and lasting until midnight, students went to the bowling alley and did various events such as foosball, pool, and as you can guess, bowling. It was a great experience for the students, and Gabe may or may not have beaten me in bowling. But overall, the night was one to remember and continues to be a great success. The Student Leadership Council would like to thank all of the vendors who donated to the cause. And I just wanted to thank all of the schools that helped me put together this presentation and just highlighting what's been going well this school year. And it's going to be a great finish to the year.
Thank you. We love hearing from those schools. Thank you so much, Abby.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. City Council update. Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, as a lot of parents and residents probably can attest to. Letters are being received about zoning changes throughout our city. Probably the largest comprehensive zoning change in Auburn in several generations in a short amount of time. Tonight, for example, they're looking at updated environmental impacts of septics, as well as low-impact design standards, and really modernizing everything around the Lake Auburn watershed. So it's pretty busy on that end. I will say from a city council update as well, I will be going to Everett Little tomorrow to meet with Seth Goodwin and the flex period and talk to a lot of students there, and very excited to tour their tiny home program. So Seth is going to take me out there, and he won't let me use a hammer, but it's going to be a good time. Oh yeah, and a hat, hard hat.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for the mayor? All right, seeing none. Committee reports. You have the Finance Committee met.
Hey,
You have
Karen.
the, oh, sorry.
You forgot the superintendent's report.
Oh, Superintendent's report. Let's go back. Oh, I'm so sorry. I skipped right over your report from student. School, chairperson. Okay. Well, let's go back to the superintendent's report. Thank you for pointing that out.
I was wondering.
All right, Dr.
I
Brown.
came pretty quick.
Thank
on
you
that
very
one.
much, Chairperson Matthew. I'm actually going to cede my time tonight to Mr. Conrad. In my report, you have a draft of a transportation plan, and he's the author, and therefore I think the right person to speak to it. And he's also going to speak to one of the items that's listed here, and that includes our recruitment efforts. We've had pretty good luck this week, so take it away, Mr. Conrad.
Thank you, and this was a result of a lot of collaboration. So we're really approaching this from two directions. One is recognizing that it's going to be difficult to recruit drivers for everyone for a while, and so anything we can do to reduce the number of drivers we need to get children to school helps us. And then the second piece of it is how can we increase the number of drivers that are coming through our door. So in the first focus is how can we reduce routes. The first item there is actually creating 2 tiers for elementary schools, which means you could reduce the number of drivers because each driver would be serving 2 schools. Just want to emphasize that we recognize any change in school times requires a lot of conversation, a lot of lead time. We haven't started looking at anything yet, but it's an option. The second piece is looking at how we can become more efficient in how we route our buses so we can both reduce route times and potentially reduce the number of routes that we need simply because we become more efficient. And most districts by now have adopted transportation software platforms like Versatrans or Edgelog that not only provide databases for the transportation function, so you can easily look up a bus stop or know your distances or provide information to parents online, but they come with pretty powerful routing metrics where you can bring in, to use it most effectively, bring in software consultants from those companies to to work with you to use logistical mathematical models for determining more efficient routes. So this will take some time to put into place, but it is something that most districts have, and we'll begin pursuing that soon. As far as the actions for increasing drivers, I'd like to drop down to the last one, which is really crucial to our recruitment efforts. We need to formalize a training program for drivers. There was a time where recruiting drivers meant you got people coming to your door who already had their school bus licenses, and now what I think districts realize is what we need to find is interested individuals who are willing to become trained as drivers, and we need to support that in that process by employing them while they're being trained, by paying for their training costs, and providing support for them while they're going through the process. And that's really crucial because as of 2 weeks ago, the federal government put in a whole new set of requirements for training of bus drivers that significantly increases the requirement, including class time. And we're already moving forward with that. We actually have interviews with some driver candidates next week. And earlier today, we were able to reserve the last slots available for driver training with what I could find is the nearest center that meets the new federal requirement, which is the Oxford Hills Adult Education Program, which offers both class time and the required road time. So we've been able to move on that pretty quickly. The next piece is actually getting the message out, right, and creating a message. So our message can now be, we will pay you for training and support you while you're employed, and no prior experience is necessary. And we're hoping that will get some folks in the doors. We're proposing being more aggressive in our advertising focus, but quite honestly, when the superintendent and myself and our HR specialist met with drivers and focus groups, they felt the best way of recruiting drivers was word of mouth from them and other employees. And that really gets to the last piece, which is the referral bonus system, which you've already started putting into place. So I think we're moving in the right direction. Even if we were to hire somebody tomorrow, it's going to take months before we can get them on board with not only the new training requirements, but it can take a long time to get your appointments in Augusta, which they need to be resolving, but it can take some time. So there are no quick fixes here, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
Thanks, Mark.
Any questions for Dr. Brown? Obviously, this has been a focus of attention for the school department for the last several weeks, I would say. This is the bus transportation and the happenings on industry have sort of moved to the top of the list, I would say. And is that a result of, and so because of that, the work that we're looking at right now is sort of a result of what's been happening? Okay, all right. And Mark, did I hear you say that you actually next week have some?
We do. We have 3 candidates. We're ready to interview next week, and we've got the training already lined up for them at Oxford Hills.
Okay. In the meantime, can they, if they don't have bus driver certification, can they drive a van for us?
Yes, part of our, before we took any step to hire them, we review their driving record. So anyone we hire would have a good driving record, and then we could pretty quickly put them into a van if we need a van driver.
Okay. And then you referred to this transportation software package. Does Auburn currently use an Auburn transportation software package right now?
No, we're currently manually maintaining all of our routes. So what we need to do is begin the process of looking at that now. The state actually provides what I believe is a qualified product for free. The training for it and bringing somebody in to look at our routing structure would cost money, but the state has a state contract. They're looking at going out to bid in the next few months for that, rebidding it. So we may want to wait just a few months to see where the state goes in their bidding process, but it may not cost us anything to actually maintain the package over time, just look at those startup costs.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions for either Mark or Superintendent Brown?
If we didn't go with the program that the state has, what does a software package like that generally cost?
Generally, you're looking at $20,000 to $25,000 for the annual base subscription cost, which is you pay every year, and then there are add-on modules. Like for another $2,000, you could add on a module where we don't need to publish our routes in the paper every August. Parents can just go online and see their bus stop information. But then there are some upfront costs of maybe $15,000 to $20,000 to bring in their routing specialists and have them work with you to work through your routing structure.
Any other questions for Mark? Dr. Brown? Mr. Galarno, this is not a time where I can take questions. This is for school committee only.
Yeah, just a suggestion.
Nope, sorry, sir, can't. You can feel free to email me, or we can talk afterwards if you'd like, but not during the meeting time. Any other questions? So thank you, Dr. Brown and Mark. I know that this has been your day job, so I appreciate you jumping right in. All right, where am I at now? Committee report, standing committees, Finance Committee met. You have the agenda. You have all of our information there. Policy Subcommittee.
Hello, I'm sorry, Madam Chair?
Yes.
One thing, on the Finance Committee, I'd just like to bring up to the board,
Yep.
or the committee rather, I was talking to Mr. Conrad about this as well. We think it's proper protocol and good practices to include monthly in our going forward school committee agendas, approval of the previous month's financial report that Mark and his team puts together and the Finance Committee reviews. So it's good practice, it keeps us up to speed, and we acknowledge that we've received the report, gives us time to answer any questions.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay.
All right, any other questions or comments regarding any of that information in finance? All right, Curriculum Subcommittee, you also have their agenda and their minutes. Any questions for those folks? And again, for those of you listening, these can all be found online on the February 16th agenda. They're all linked right in. Questions, comments regarding curriculum? All right, seeing none, let's move into old business subcommittees. Here I go with my alphabet letters again. Motion to approve policy AUB BEDD rules of order for second read and approval. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pam. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, let's take a vote. All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Policy AUB BEDF voting method. Can I entertain a motion to approve policy AUB BEDF, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dan. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Thank you. Motion passes. Policy AUB BEDFA abstentions. Can I entertain a motion to approve policy AUB BEDFA, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pat. Questions, comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion for policy AUB BEDFA? All those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Policy AUB BEDG minutes. Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pam. Questions, comments? All those in favor of approving AUB BEDG minutes? Thank you. Motion passes. Policy AUB BIC board member freedom of access training. Can I entertain a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Have a second?
Second.
Didn't hear. I heard Dan over that way first. So Dan, questions, comments? Seeing none. All in favor? Thank you. Motion passes. All right, new business. Here we go. Can I entertain a motion to approve a $1,500 referral bonus for employees new to the Auburn School Department?
I'd like to,
Let me finish reading the motion. And to meet with the associations to develop a memorandum of understanding regarding the process. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pam. Albert, questions, comments? I don't think I'm going to hear from the public. All right, all those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Motion to approve the reallocated ESSER funds and premium pay of $1,000 per each employee in the Auburn School Department. Can I entertain a motion, please?
So moved.
I think I heard Pam Hart over here. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Brian. Questions, comments on that one? All those in favor? All right, motion passes. Upcoming meetings, ladies and gentlemen, February 22nd, Policy Subcommittee, March 2nd, Curriculum Committee, March 2nd is also a regular school committee, March 8th, a building committee, which will be held by Zoom, the 10th is a finance committee, March 16th is a regular school committee. All right, future agenda items and requests for information. Dr. Brown, I think in light of what some of the information that came out just today, I think it's important that we put CDC updates. I believe the health and safety meeting will meet the night before, so updates on that. What are the SOPs, and do we need to update our SOPs around anything that's coming out? Any other future agenda items or requests for information?
Just to clarify that, when we're talking about standard operating procedures, that does include up to and including removal of masks for students,
What will they
correct?
be? Yeah.
What will they be? Okay, so I
what
just
will
want to
they
make
be?
sure it's clear. Standard operating
They
procedures.
should be
are
out by
good.
the time the March 1st meeting hits for the Health and Safety Committee, so they will meet, discuss, and then make suggestions for the school committee.
And the school committee has final say, or wasn't that authority ceded to the superintendent?
I think we'd have to go back and look at that's what they will figure out. That's
They
what will figure
recommend,
out.
and then the authority lies within this board or the superintendent to make the final decision.
I think it has to we have to look back at the plan. I believe some information may have been that it was with the parts of it, it's changed. The plan has changed so much with new updates that have come around.
I understand. I'm just looking at the power of this board. Does it have adjudication power? In other words, can it make decisions, or is it a recommendation advisory role?
The committee will decide that. Right now, the power is with the superintendent.
Got
Is
it.
that
That's
the
what I needed to know.
recommendation they want to
Okay.
continue? What do they want us to do? So we'll let that committee meet.
Very good.
And let us
Thank you.
know the following day. Okay? Any other requests, agenda items? All right, seeing none, I need to entertain a motion to move into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 405D for the purpose of negotiations.
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pat. Motion to enter into executive session. Those in favor, thank you. We're in executive session, 6:26 PM.